Hello, I am Endlessness and welcome back to Final Fantasy VII Ever Crisis, and in this video I wanted to give you an overview with some tips and suggestions and a guide for Guild Battle 6. And in this guild battle we have Behemoth King as the boss, and this ranking is all about magic fire. And to be honest, it feels like we went back to the first guild battle, or at least those early guild battles where bosses had a lot of HP. Because if you remember, last guild battle, Krakens could one-shot stage 4 and 5, and here the strongest might do around 50%, so that highest stage will now need 2 or 3 hits from those strongest players, and now they will be fighting to be able to one-shot stage 3 again. And that also means a lot more attempt used to clear a board and less guild medals for everyone. But for this guild ranking, that newest Matt and Sephiroth banner is obviously perfect, and I'm not sure how many people will wail on it, but also because of upcoming Christmas, I think most people will be busy, so it will make the whole event a lot more chaotic, and the coordination will be just a lot more difficult. And of course, every individual player is important and how much they can do on each stage, but coordination and working as a whole guild together is equally important, and it will make this event most efficient. This time Aerith and Glenn weapons are featured in the armory, which is a bit unfortunate if you want to use Aerith as support, and it's the highest additional equipment level I have ever had and probably will ever have. As for once, I have many outfits that are featured this time, so your armory level depends on how far your weapons are overboosted and also how many featured outfits you have, and every level increases magic potency by 6% and fire potency by 3%. The most perfect team would be Matt and Sephiroth with their newest banner gear, and then either Fire Arcanum Tifa or Zack with his half anniversary gear. But if you didn't pull, we have some alternatives, because even though Aerith is featured, her Terra Rod debuffs fire resistance and you could use her as DPS or healer, and Baharod also boosts magic attack for all allies. But I also think Barret and Yuffie can buff magic attack and lower fire resistance as well, and that means they could be used at least on those lower stages, as their magic attack buffs also apply regen. But for that I think Barret would be a little bit better, but I think you just really want those fire resistance debuffs in this battle. And I am using Zack, Aerith and Sephiroth as they are my best options, and with this setup I can one-shot stage 1, do around 70% on stage 2, 35% on stage 3, 21 on stage 4 and around 12% on stage 5. But on those low stages you don't need big heals or higher defense on HP, but you will need it for those higher stages to survive Behemoth's attacks. So while I have the same team, I have just switched few sub-weapons for those higher stages. Aerith has Halloween outfit with Breath of the Earth, Baharod for heals, Terra Rod for debuffs, Princess God, Mana Breach, a fire and a stat stick, and in sub-equipment slots Aerith has Easter event weapon, Crystal Cross and guild weapon with magic defense for allies. Sephiroth has Fire Mastery outfit with Crimson Flare, Protector's Blade just for stats, Crimson Blade for DPS, Genji, 3 stat sticks, and in sub-equipment slots Seth has 2 magic attack weapons with buff debuff extension and my other best magic attack weapon, and Seth also has buff debuff extension to have Genji buffs for the entirety of the battle, and it will also extend the fire damage buffs from Crimson Flare. Lastly, Zack has Fire Arcanum outfit with Hellfire, Steam God for DPS, Arc Sword is mostly for stats, Ultimate Weapon, Materia Adjust stat sticks, and then in sub-equipment slots Zack has Rage Collar because my other fire sub-weapons are barely OB5 or OB6, Electro Cannon and Kuja for magic attack, and those are just my best options. By the way, it will always confuse me why they chose this model for Ever Crisis and not Crisis Core Union or Remake, because this Behemoth is from Final Fantasy XV, but at the beginning of the battle start applying all available buffs and debuffs and wait until you reach max stance, and that's where you can start doing some DPS. But also on Sephiroth I'm going to use Genji as soon as it's available. But it's a relatively simple battle, just do DPS and not die. But also this Icy Revenge charge attack, a magic attack that Behemoth will start charging very soon. It depends on how quickly you can get rid of that fire gauge. If it takes a little bit longer, it will take a little bit more time until he does that, and that means that he might not do it the second time. But also this fire gauge, how quickly you can get rid of it, it depends on what stage you are doing, because stage 4 and 5 it will take a lot longer to deplete it. But just switch to defense. Oh, starting with stage 3, I definitely recommend switching to defense on those charge attacks, because you will die, but stage 1 and 2 you don't have to. But I'm almost ready. Just one more Sephiroth and summons. Mostly because I'm not keeping them till the end of the battle, because I want that fire damage buff from Crimson Flare. And now back to DPS, but also pay attention to all your buffs and debuffs, because if you see them flashing or anything, then you want to reapply it as quickly as possible. Alright. It's almost done. Yes, now it comes the second attack, and that means we won't have any more time left to do anything. And yeah, there is no point to switch to defense on that, because it's the end of the battle, and when this animation finishes, you won't be able to execute any more actions. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Alright, with Barret it's pretty much the same. Debuff fire resistance first, and then of course wait for your max stance. But also with Barret you can buff magic attack, so I'm going to do it for Zack first. And because you can buff magic attack with Barret, you don't have to have buff debuff extension on Sephiroth. So you can go full DPS with both of your DPS characters and just stack it on Barret to extend those debuffs. But yeah, stage 1 and 2 are definitely most easy, because even on this Icy Revenge you don't have to switch to defense. It won't hurt you, especially on stage 1. You just take a little bit of damage. So if you have Zack, you just want to pay attention so he doesn't go below 70% HP, so he doesn't lose that 1.2 more damage that he has. But same thing, just pay attention so you have all those buffs and debuffs the whole time active. And I'm going to use Zack's ultimate here. Yes, my summons are almost ready. Just one more. And Crimson Flare for all those fire buffs. This is always extra DPS, so you can benefit from it until the battle ends. And done.